Alright folks, we moved along, got quite a bit done. Got toolboxes mounted. They're not done. I made the bracing crossed and down. This particular box is going to have one from here down to the base here. Didn't like this, but I'm going to tell you what I've done. I had to move this, I keep this box back farther than I wanted, and it interferes with getting this pin out. So what I decided to do, I'll trim the corner of the box and put a just put a piece in to close it in. That way the pin can come out, and I won't lose hardly any area of the box. It's not a big deal. But I want to do that instead of making it where you got to take the box off just to get the pin out. So anyway, pins are done. I still got some welding to do up here. Brackets done. Cross members in. Added some stuff that, you know, I'm not sure that I needed, but I wanted to make sure it was strong enough. So toolboxes, you know, sit out away from the frame so they're even with the cab here. A little bit in. The bed will be overhung a little bit out, so it'll be fine. We did cut this completely apart, clean it all up, and have not cut these off yet. Them was facing down, but anyway, redone the whole thing, redone the measurements on it. I've got it welded all back in and bolted it in, you know, from the side instead of whatever the heck. They had it welded and strapped and a little bit of everything else. So that's done. All right, and here's this side. Now all the boxes, like I said, they're bolted on, and I've still got you can see this one's forward a little bit because we put the hydraulic tank here, and got to finish the strapping up on it. They had to weld it. They had the straps welded. I'm going to make pieces on it to bolt them on and tighten it down. And we moved them because they had one here and one right here, and we ended up putting it on the outside. So it'll work fine. Let me check a width here. Okay, so the bed's 8 foot, and we're at 7'5". So there you go, no problem. 7 inches, that's 3.5 inches on each side. So the bed will actually will be 3.5 inches out from where the boxes are. So that'll work out really well. Let me see. I think everything else is pretty much not completely done on this thing. I mean, I've still got more to do. I got the cylinders back on how I want them. I got all my pins made, and I got them facing down. Just got to run the hoses on it. Got to figure out which hose is the up and which is down. I'm hoping to get that figured out beforehand. Put a little air on it or something, that way I don't mix them up and get the wrong one. And it looks like FedEx is here with a part. All right, so FedEx showed up and brought me some 2.5 inch bed marker lights. So we should have about all of our lights we need. Okay, I've got the bed up here to the shop, and we've got her flipped over, and I'm getting ready to get it leveled out, and then we're going to start working on it. So we'll try to straighten out every bit of the sides and actually try to straighten out some of their mess. They didn't clean, they couldn't, and I understand, because they didn't take the bed off and flip it over upside down. So, you know, I'm not complaining about the work they've done. I'm just saying I would have done it different. What they've done is, instead of putting them where they belong, because there was welds and stuff under them, they just put them beside. So we're going to do some cleanup. You can see this thing was ran without wear pads for quite a while. So I've got a debate on whether I'm going to cut this piece out and replace it with a 1/4 inch stock run through there, or if I'm going to go ahead and weld it up. This side's worse than the other. You can see it's through in a few spots. Won't take that much really to weld it up, or wouldn't take that much to weld a piece on it. I mean, I go through there and cut it off, and you know, it starts a little bit right here, not bad, and then it only goes to about right here, and it starts getting even better. So there's just a space in there where all the weight sort of rested. And like I said, they ran it without wear pads, so what can you expect? Them bolts were gouging in and grinding in it. I built my rollback, the red International I use, and when I done it, I built my own tilt frame, but I ran it metal to metal. And I know it sounds crazy, but there's so much surface area from metal to metal that I have no wear issues. Just keep it greased. And the problem with putting it on wear pads is if you put it on a wear pad that's a foot long, then it puts all the weight on that 1 foot. You know, you don't have enough surface area. So you end up with a lot of wear. Just like with having a head of a bolt, you had no surface area. So there's what it was doing. So we'll straighten that out. I think our biggest problem or part's going to be getting the steel out from underneath of the rail. And you know, we could probably, and we might do it. I might, because we've got to cut this out. We could cut it loose from the back, and these ones here we can cut it loose from. I can actually take the deck off right here, and I'm going to show you how I'm talking about doing that, or why I would do it. You know, it's thin in spots, and I'll show you in just a minute, but we could do that and actually flip this rail, because we've got to replace so many of them. Winch is bolted there. Yeah. So we may remove the rail, cut it loose here. If we done that, it would make the whole job a million times easier. So that may be what we do. Remove the rail, put the rail back. Yeah, that would give us a chance to clean the top side up, fix it all, and put it back together. Well, that would make it easy to get our, because what I would plan to do was use the 2x2 or angle and probably go through this hole. And once all these are out of here, slide it across and then put it in place, and then weld it in, and then put another one in, weld it in. I still may use them, because that might be the cheapest way to go. A channel is not going to be tall enough. A channel is only 1.5 inches height. So these are 2 inch. So we need to bring it back to the 2 inches that it is. I could bend some stuff up, but you're not going to get it. It's not going to be as strong. By the time you're done with the labor of cutting it out, bending them up, and all that stuff, you're going to have as much in it if you just went and bought some, you know, decent angle iron. And if we welded the angle iron down the center and didn't weld it everywhere, it would allow for water to come out. These didn't allow for water to come out at all. It just set in them. No drain holes, no nothing, so that's the way that works. All right, so, and again, we're in North Carolina. We don't have salt on the roads here, so we won't have that issue that we have everywhere else. I'm going to need to push off these rails to straighten this. So, I mean, I could push from the other side, I guess. We're going to pour the power most of these dents out. Try to get this just as straight as can be, because I don't want to replace it. And we'll go from there. But like I said, we'll probably just go ahead and cut that loose, because it won't take that much to cut loose. I mean, these rails got to come off anyway, or the underneath. So yeah, that would be no problem. And when we come back, we're welding it. We're welding them back in. They're not going to be just, you know, hanging out like they mostly are now. We will get some weld in there, and I think that's going to be our answer. Okay, folks, after looking this thing over really well and trying to decide what I really want to do, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe what I'm going to do is reverse these things. I'm going to put this rail on this side and this rail on this side, and it won't take that much work, really. Just a little cutting, grinding, welding. Then I wouldn't have to repair any of this, because it is wore on this side, and it's still going to be plenty strong enough. We'll just flip-flop them and add our gussets back in. And the biggest part really is going to be up here, cutting this loose, but we will figure it out. Best bet, because that way it'll be back just like brand new. We'll have to change these. This is the other lock pieces. The only other big issue, and it don't look like, I don't know, probably not welded on that good anyway. We'll see. All right, so this whole section underneath of these pieces, let me see, it's halfway between that one and that one, and it is up to under this one. So that whole centerpiece is going to come off and out, and we're replacing it with 3/16 because I don't know what that is, but it's way thinner. So we can get the warping out of it. Plus we can get it up and get it welded in where it's supposed to be. It's not welded in good there. Like I said, getting this stuff straight is also a priority because I don't want this thing to look like crap when we're done. It's pretty rough down in here. And then of course we have the wreck, the accident part up here. We can push on that, cut that front piece loose. We can probably get most of this pulled out. Alright folks, finally got this center section set out and getting ready to cut out. Right here is the same, but they cut it crooked, so I'm going to come back a little ways. Cut straight across. This whole center piece right here is the one that's coming out down to this seam, and I'll have to recut this seam straight also. And then this is all good, and the back is good. So we're going to go ahead because this piece goes in on top of the channel on the sides. We'll go ahead and replace this piece, and we'll get everything cleaned up, get the sides straightened out as good as we can. We'll start adding the cross members in. We'll jack up from underneath. That way we can tack them in, weld them in good. And once all of that is done, we'll continue to get these off and clean these up. We can flip it over now. And once they're off, we're going to change everything over and swap them rails out. So that's where we're at, and that's what we're working on. So we're going to get to cut and see if we can at least get this centerpiece replaced. All right, folks. I've got this side. Well, I got this cut out. I got this side I got to clean up yet. The other side is done over there. Well, all the torching and stuff, getting all these pieces out. I still got to grind it, and then we've started getting one ready. So this is my new steel that's going in. It's not brand new. Well, it might be new, but it's new old steel. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And it's at least 3/16, and it might be a little thicker. We're going to do some measuring on that and see, but we're moving right along with it. If you're wondering if I'm to that point to where I wish I would have bought a bed instead of fixing this one, I'm not at that point. I'm way beyond that point. That was like a week ago. Now I just want to take it to the crusher and move to West Virginia back in the mountains and quit on all this stuff. But it'll get better. It can't get worse, right? All right, folks. So I'm out of oxygen. Used up 2 tanks so far on this thing, and I'm sure we're going to be using more. But anyway, I'm going to call it a day. It's Sunday. I'm going to go get some oxygen in the morning and maybe start picking up the crossmember steel. We're almost to the point to where we turn around and start putting together instead of tearing apart. And you start feeling a whole lot better at that point, but I'm not quite there yet. Anyway, so we're going to keep at it, and I'll show you more later. Alright folks, there's the pump and the PTO on. Waiting on some fittings, and we'll try to get the tank hooked up. Just been working on the bed part mostly. This thing, here's where I don't know if I showed this or not. I redone the locks on it and got them finished up. I just got through putting gear oil back in the transmission, and it was leaking a little bit around the shifter, so I went ahead and pulled the shifter back out and just filled it from there. And then now we're going to go ahead and seal it up and get that back on it. And let me see, that's most of it. I think we're about ready to flip them beams and start cleaning the inside of them, and then once them are done, we can start putting them on that that bed. All the cross members are in the bed. The floor's been replaced. 6 foot long, 8 foot wide. Just, you know, one section. And haven't done much at all on this. Just, you know, trying to get the PTO on the gears and the pump on. You can see them a little better here. So this is a different company PTO. I think I've mentioned that. And the pump, this pump is actually about a 20 gallon per minute. And this is my 4th pump I bought from the same manufacturer. And they're really, the price is really cheap on them. The problem is they don't do what they claim they'll do. So if you want a 16 gallon per minute pump, you better get a 20. That's what I have noticed anyway. Well, now I see why it was leaking. I don't know how I didn't catch that when I put that thing together, where this piece went off to, because it's not on top of the transmission. So time to make a new gasket. All right, folks, here's where we are. Beams are cleaned up, sitting on the bed. We haven't mounted them, or I measured them a little bit, but as you can see, all of the wear is now on the inside, and boy, what a mess they are. And I straightened this one out. I hadn't straightened that one out yet. We'll probably lay it down and straighten it out, but now all our wear pads will be operating on the outside. And so we just moved that one from here and moved this one from there. Yeah, so we just swapped them. This one was over there and that one was over here. So now we got all new surface for the wear pads, and the old stuff you'll never see, and it'll get welded in, so good to go. We had to swap these flats from one side to the other, weld the cross member in here, and went ahead and left that open because once we put the cross member in, I can weld it from the back side also, so fill that hole in. And let me see. Yeah, I had to change these. These are the hold downs for the bed. So they were on this side at the top, and now they're going to be on this side at the top. So we're just taking everything off one and putting on the other and reversing it. So there you go, a lot of work. We're going to keep rolling. Alright, what we're doing here is pulling these tight. Well, I'm not. Somebody is. Just welded some temporary bolts on and pulling it down until we can get it where it's good and tight, and we can weld it. Alright folks, moving along. I've got the truck up here doing a little work on it too. Going to try to have the hydraulics working on it today. Been doing a lot of welding. We got these rails welded back in. Cross members back in. And this is a 1/2 inch cross member. The other one was 3/8, so it's a little heavier. Still got to finish welding it up. Got all the center welded that I'm going to weld. Probably, I don't know, a couple hundred welds there. Got to do both sides, and we're going to weld it in, you know, all the way on the ends, and then we'll just go in between it about like we did on this one, and weld the rest of it. And moving along anyway. All right.